And just like that, football is back. Actual physical football. Yes, okay, it's a pre-season friendly as West Ham kick off our pre-season campaign with a clash against Swiss outfit Servette this evening, 5 o'clock this evening. So this is your match day preview, and it's been a little while. So roll the bad boy titles. Is it? I am on. I'm on. I was just worried there that something was happening. So listen, it's a bit of a sporadic. I couldn't do the time slot that we normally do, which is 12:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So I had to just randomly bring it onto you at this time. So apologies if you are catching up with this a little bit later. And if you are in the chat just now, please leave your comments. But we do know it is, of course, the pre-season time, and yeah, it's exciting times. I suppose it's now getting back into the nitty gritty. The players have been training, they've been at St Andrews, and they've done one of their first training camps. And if anything, what that taught me was there was just really wasn't a lot of first team players there. And then that's been confirmed again because the players have obviously travelled France this week in the training camp and have jumped over the border to Switzerland and are going to be taking on Servette, who have already played 4 friendlies this summer already. So will be a good test for West Ham, albeit everyone understands it's a friendly. The whole purpose of friendlies is to bring the players up to scratch with game football time part, like, you know, tactics, formations, and actually physically playing football. Training is good, but you do need to have these games. This is why we've got a ram-packed season ahead of pre-season games. So it's exciting times. Absolutely, it is. So what we'll do is we'll get started and give you some information on Servette. So they're 17-time Swiss champions. Let me see if you've got that image up there. You do. There we go. And they had the last title success coming in 1999, and they finished 6th in the Swiss Super League last term, picking up 44 points from the 36 matches. They've missed out on European football for this current campaign due to the final position in the table, but their new league season is due to begin on July the 17th. So they'll be ahead of schedule for pre-season and compared to West Ham. So they're deep into their preparations for competitive action. They've already played 4 times this summer, beating Sion, Stade Lausanne, Auxerre, and Neutral. I can't even pronounce them, sorry, apologies, in their first 3 friendlies before losing 1-0 against Annecy on July the 5th. Now, the manager, who I'll come on to in a minute, and this is just more information on Servette. They're a Swiss football club based in Geneva, founded in March 1890 with rugby as the first sporting activity. They're named after the Geneva district of the same name. The football section was created in 1900. Servette is one of Switzerland's most successful clubs and most successful Romandy club, winning 17 national titles as well as 7 Swiss Cups as well. So there you go. Now, the manager is Alan Geiger. He's been the manager since 2018. And like I said, they are one of the Switzerland's oldest clubs. And they're certainly going to provide competitive opposition for West Ham, who, of course, are just doing and starting our pre-season schedule. So, of course, it's going to be interesting because, as you've probably seen from the role in the titles, is it going to be a strong blend of experience and youth? And absolutely, there's going to be rolling subs left, right, and centre. So it will obviously make for it's just going to be nice to see the players in their new strips turning up, doing a job for the team. And it's going to be interesting to see who Moyes lines up and starts with. But you all got to take it with a pinch of salt. So some players to keep an eye out for in terms of Servette is this man here, Patrick Fluke, who has just been signed this summer. He is their attacker, and I think he can definitely offer them a threat going forward. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know who all these players are because I really, really don't. But they've also got several players who do play in internationals, and it'll make it for an interesting game. But when it comes to West Ham are going to have a reasonably strong squad, but we won't have, of course, the likes of Declan Rice. We won't have Tommy Soucek. We won't have Vladimir Sofal. We won't have Jared Bowen, just to name a few of the players in the ranks. But what we do know is we will have the following players available for selection. We'll have Antonio, who has been training for pre-season since the start of the summer. We have Lanzini, who'll be there kicking about as well. He's been at the pre-season schedule for Niles, was also been there. They've all been training with the first team. We'll have Craig Dawson, who'll be probably in the back line as well. We'll have the likes of Zuma, who's been in the training camp, and Diop. Depends on what happens now, because obviously we're hearing talks about him potentially heading to Fulham, and they're kind of close to agreeing a deal. So whether or not West Ham would risk him in a friendly, I'm not so sure. Ogbonna is back in the fold. Fabianski's been with the training camp, and I'm aware that Areola hasn't travelled to France, so maybe, unless he has, then we haven't seen that, but I don't think he will make an appearance anyway. But we've got Nathan Trott in the back burner, who has obviously signed a new contract. Now, West Ham have previously came up against Servette in the past, if people didn't know this. So I'm going to roll the title along the bottom here. There we go. So West Ham visited Servette in July 1987 when John Lyle's side were beaten 3-1 by them. Tony Cottee was in target for West Ham, and we had Ray Stewart, Alvin Martin, Liam Brady, Mark Ward, Frank McAvenny, Alan Dickens, Stuart Robertson all started the game, and Paul Ince also appeared as a substitute in that game. There was a 4,500 strong crowd that were present at their previous home, which was built in 1930. And prior to that, West Ham did welcome Servette to Upton Park in April 1954, when West Ham ran out 5-1 winners, and in one of the earliest floodlit challenge matches played at Upton Park. So some interesting information for you is we do share a player. West Ham have had a player that have played for West Ham and both Servette as well. So I'm just trying to find it. I've just had it and I've just lost it on my sheet. So where's that gone? That is terrible. Terrible from me. So let me give you a little bit more information. They've won the most recent title back in 98-99 season, meaning silverware and success has proved harder to come by in recent decades, and they were relegated from the Super League in 2013, but they returned to the Super League back in 2019 and finished 6th last season. And that really gives you most of the information, I think it is, that we really want to go through. So I'm going to jump into the chat and see what everyone's thoughts are regarding the game today as well. Howard Ailes is in the house. Hope you are well, my man. What are you thinking about the preseason game? I mean, I get it. I get people are all over the place when it comes to preseason. I don't think people are a massive fan of it, but it serves a purpose. It's needed. Players need the fitness. They need the game time. They need the experience of the game time. Mandy saying, oi, oi. Morning, Mandy. Hope you're well. Would Downes be out there already? I really doubt it, to be honest, because from my understanding, it was a kind of week-long campaign, and I believe they're coming to the tail end of it. So I reckon they'll wait for them to come back and start with his campaign. Of course, if you didn't know, West Ham did make our third summer signing in bringing Downes to the club from Flynn Downes to the club from Swansea. So it's a great signing by West Ham. The more you look into him, the more you start to see what he is absolutely potentially capable of, and he's absolutely got potential. TSC 777 Farmers Team, easy win for West Ham, but we do have a history of not doing well against teams like that. But it is pre-season, so we're going to see a really strong mix of young players. Won their last 3 games. I don't think Aguerd, I don't think Areola, and I don't think Downes will feature today. So there's just no point in even thinking about it. Chocolatiers and Mountaineers, absolutely not. Howard Ailes, Okaflex hat-trick and Augie Header to finish off an emphatic win 4-0 because we are massive. Well, this is interesting. I wanted to talk to you about Okaflex because obviously Okaflex has been training heavily with the first team squad in preparation for the new season. Now, when I watched him at St Andrews, what I did see was a player who is a clinical finisher. He has the back of the net in his sights. He wants to put that ball into the back of the net, and he looks like he is a really, really good, deadly finisher. And it'll be interesting to see if he is going to make the step up now that Sonny Perkins has left the club. I wouldn't be surprised, and I have to say something to you all here now, and I said this yesterday, but this man here, Antonio, is in beast mode. And if we can keep him fit like we did last season, he is going to be our main man again this year. I don't doubt it. I think he'll be up there a lot of the games. But I will like to see a challenge come in from Okaflex. And I think if Okaflex can give West Ham, if he can even remotely turn it up for the pre-season, then I think he's going to give David Moyes David Moyes is going to have to make a decision, 100%. And I think Okaflex has got the potential. I really do. Russ has had a very fortunate situation to see him play live several times, obviously, from working at the stadium. And he says he's a kind of player that gets you bums off the seats. And when I watched the training facility, the specific day I was there, they had all the attackers working in one section. And they had the likes of Ben Rama and all the creative players feeding the balls into Antonio and feeding the balls into Okaflex, and they were both of them were lethal in front of goal, to be honest. So, yeah, I think Okaflex could be a surprise package. I've come to terms with the fact that a lot of young players may struggle to get into the first team, but there is an opportunity, and this is the whole point of the summer preseason, that you're going to have that nice balance. And if I'm telling you now, if Okaflex bangs in goals today, he bangs in goals over pre-season, it's going to give Moyes a decision to make. You know, is there a player there that we've got in our ranks that can make this step up? I'm not saying it will happen, but it could happen. Absolutely could happen. So, yeah, I think it'd be cool to see him. And if you've got a hat-trick, what a good start to pre-season as well. After a protracted court case between Food Giant, Procter & Gamble and HM Revenue and Customs being decided once and for all, the Pringles are crisps. There you go. So keen for today's game. It's about how we play more important than the result for me, as long as it's not 5 or 6-0. I agree with you, Daniela. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to see. Do you know what? It's just going to be nice to see players rested and coming into the West Ham fold. You know, over the last couple of seasons, especially with COVID, there's been a lot of football, and it's just going to be nice. We've had a right good break now. It's going to be nice to see the players wearing a new strip and turning up and doing a job for West Ham as well. Mark Thomas Thorne is St Downes, potentially a 60 million, 70 million pound player, can really see a bright future in there. Do you know what I'll do actually? While we're all here, I can only stay on for another 15 minutes, actually 10 minutes, but I'll put the link in the chat. If anyone's interested in coming on just to have your say about today's game, then please click the link that I've just put in the chat I don't mind. I can only stay on for another 10 minutes. I've got a really crazy busy day, but I just thought I'd bring this information to you as well. Good day, Anton. Good afternoon, or morning, Kieran, I should say, or wherever you are, depending on the time. I hope you are well. Are we doing a watch along for the game today? So the game is a 5 o'clock kickoff, and it is going to be streamed live on YouTube. So in theory, we wouldn't need to do the watch along because you can watch the game, but people have asked us to give the running commentary of the game because they're not a fan of the commentary that comes on. Now, what I do need to do is look at and see whether or not we can get this game on our stream, and then we can watch it with you live, which I've done once before, when there was no need to, when there was no kind of authorities there over viewing it, etc. So, yeah, I'll let you know later on, definitely. Daniela, who is in the background, I'm going to bring you on. Pre-season, very important. It's about loosening the summer cobwebs and picking up pace for the new season, which starts in a month's time. So let's bring you on, Daniela, and give us your opinion for the game today. How are you feeling about it, Daniela?
It's one of those things. I think it's nice and on where I think it's one of those things. We start the month. We got a European qualifier to go through. It's needed. I play cricket, and in fact we were playing that. And that first game is always it's the one about have I got the pace? Have I got the stamina? Have I got it? You can do this in training, but there is something that actual competitive or semi-competitive matches can be. And I think it depends on how both sides go about it. Yeah, it can be just a try thing, let's try stuff off. But I think as these games come up this next month, they will get sort of tougher, more competitive. And it is about players picking up their rhythm, getting rid of the cobwebs of the summer, and so they can start. And let's be honest, we have City in the first game of the season. That is going to be a hard game, as we said last year.
Of course it is.
But it's also a game we can win. City are notorious last starters, and if we go with it with the right attitude, like let's be honest, we literally took them to the edge on the second from last game of the season, our last home game last season. There is no reason, even when the likes of Haaland. No, I'm not sure Haaland's going to hit it running full top.
Let's hope they're not the famous last words, Daniela. Let's hope they're not the famous last words.
But no, I think these pre-seasons, anyone says, "Oh, I don't like pre-seasons," it's actually they're a necessity. They're a
necessity. They are. They absolutely are. The question I've got for you then is, you can have teams that can go on and have a very successful pre-season and not turn up and do well in the following domestic campaign. And one season in particular was under Avram Grant. I think we went unbeaten in pre-season and then got relegated the following year. So it can be deceiving, but I think that's also how a football fan and team set up. So what I think we've got is this nice unity amongst the squad, amongst the coaching staff, and what Moyes will want, and he always says it, Daniel, he always says it, is consistency. But what he's going to get is he's got a lot of first teamers that aren't available, but he's got he's got the original core: Fornals, Lanzini, Diops, Dawson's, Zumas, Fabianski's, Antonios, Benrahma's. They're all available, but you're mixing it up with Langelos, Alessi's, and Okoflex. I mean, I'm excited to see, because I think he's going to get quite a bit of game time.
I'm excited to see. I'm going to watch the game later on. I think the key for the last two seasons and the key for West Ham is this camaraderie. Is this, we called it the band. Remember, we called it one day the Band of Brothers attitude, and it's because we got and no one actually shows that more than actually Fornals. Fornals to me is everyone goes on about West Ham. To me, he's the one that shows this Band of Brothers. We're three musketeers. We're all for one and one for all attitude. And I think all these people say, and I think that's why we, as a club, that don't probably have, shall we say, the most on paper best talent in a football, but we're more of a whole. And if you look at some of the other sides, and there's a lot of teams in the Premier League, you can look at it and say, yes, they've got a better team on paper, but they don't have a team on the pitch. They're a team of individuals that are working for them. So let's be honest, no team shows that more than United. Man United, we can all laugh at them, but no team show they're a team of individuals and not a team of a squad team more than Man United.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. And I think we're going to be surprised. Like I watched Gio's commentary about the new signing coming underneath the radar, and I think it's not only the transfers that are going underneath the radar, it's West Ham's going underneath the radar. No, if you actually listen to all the media thing, no one is talking about us. We are just, in some ways, we don't exist for some of these media people. And I think that is a benefit. That is something we can use because we have got no pressure. No one's actually looking at us. No one's investigating.
Do you know what, Daniela? I completely agree with that. You know, I've heard so many people saying that, especially last season, that when you listen to the mainstream media, you don't hear a lot about West Ham. And part of me goes, good. Keep it that way. Let us just drift under the radar and work and keep knocking that little barrier down and keep working our way up. But everyone, welcome Kieran back to the channel. Kieran, you keeping well?
Hey, Daniela. How you going, Anton?
Not bad, mate. You? Good?
I'm good. Yeah, mate. Good.
It's football day. It is football day. It's back.
I know, son. It's back, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning for me, so I'm not sure I'll be up for it. I might have to watch it when I get out of bed in the morning and don't hear about the result. But yeah, look, to me, I don't really take much notice of pre-season games. They're a kickabout. But unless, there's nothing new about Antonio or Fornals. We know what they're all about, don't we? But if young lads do get a run, then I'm interested to just see how they perform and how keen they are and whether they do get a run would be nice. I'm more interested in that.
To kind of go on that and talk about the young players again, we've got the likes of, again, I keep bringing it up because it's valuable. So, something I found out about when I went to St Andrews and watched the players train, I didn't know what I'm about to say until after we came home, but the under-21 squad were also, the full squad were in a separate part of St Andrews training. So where I parked my car, there was a huge bit of trees, and I could see the first team training over there, but I didn't know behind those trees was the full under-21 squad. And if I'd have known that, I'd have went and watched them as well. So I've taken a keen interest in them. But what happened was you had Harrison Ashby, you had Chesters, you had Longello, Alessi, Nathan Trott, Hadji the keeper, and Okoflex and Coventry. They were the kind of 8 youth players that were making the step up into the first team squad and training with the first team squad. So I think you'll see quite a bit of mix of them in this pre-season. And I do agree with you, Kieran, on that. I do agree with you, mate. I do agree that, it's not the be-all and end-all, but as Daniela says, it serves a purpose. Sorry, Daniela, go.
I watched some of the footage of the train. I don't know if it's from you, but on YouTube. And it does seem like with the youth players, the senior team was sort of like polishing them off. Yes, you've got the basic skills there. You're 70, 80, 90% there. But it was about timing, polishing them off, giving them that, thinking about that extra bit of pace. It gives you that extra bit to step up. And I think that was what they're doing. I think this is what this is. And I agree with Kieran that. Pre-season is about the whole. Pre-season is about, in a way, dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
It's in between things, isn't it? Really.
And for each player, like I say, we all know about the senior team. For them, it's about picking up. It's about finding that pace. So when that season starts, they're there, and it's about them taking pre-season fitness and saying, okay, transferring that onto gameplay, transferring where they're, and also in a way finding out where your individual strengths, weaknesses are, where you've got to work more, whether it's a bit more stamina, whether it's a bit more, you've got to.
I think this season it might be more poignant for the youngsters because really, for us to increase the squad, we need to sign 8 players, and I think that's very doubtful. We're not signing 8 players. So to complement that, we really do need at least 2 of them to step up and be there. And I think this is why Moyes, at St Andrews, You were there, Anton, and he is getting them involved with the team. I think they will be a big part of the pre-season, and I think the likes of Ashby, especially, I fancy will be a part of this squad going forward. At least 2 or 3 of them, and then say if we end up with 5 signings, which I'm hoping, fingers crossed, then it's not so bad because potentially if Diop does leave, we have lost 5 players. So. Yeah. 5 signings when you think one of them's Areola. We're still sort of one down of that squad that we had. Yeah. So really, if we can't sign more than 5, I do believe we need a couple of young lads to step up.
What was interesting was just like last year when I watched them, Moyes stuck with the defenders again. So he never left the defence session. So they'd done a full session together. They'd done their warm-up. They'd done their training, their stretching. They'd done a game at the end. Actually, they'd done a game at the end without goalkeepers. It was just possession game. But in between, they split all the players up in their sections and they kept their defence. And then they split the defence into 2 different sections, the left-footed players and the right-footed players. So David Moyes took the left-footed players and Charlie Adam took the right-footed players. And they were working heavily. So you had Creswell alongside Creswell was alongside Longello, and he was alongside Alessi. And Masuaku was with the midfielders.
All right, so then. He's a new midfielder then. Yeah. He's a new star.
So what was interesting was he was really working the pace of these 3 players. We know that Alessi is your left-sided centre-back, but can play a left-back. We know that Longello as a left-back has been linked to leaving the club. However, as of late, we've seen quite a lot of information about him. And the club's putting out a bit of media on Longello about, being part of the pre-season squad. And he's talking a lot about being part of it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this could be the year where he kind of becomes the backup, becomes the young guy. Yeah, it could be, especially if they're thinking about moving Masuaku there.
I think that's a result of last season where it was the defence we had most of our injuries in. And if we go back to last season, the first half we started with not conceding a lot of goals. We were one of the tightest defences going. We were winning, not losing games. It was way into the season before we lost our first game by more than 2 goals. And then we had all the centre-back injuries. And that's when we started leaking goals in. And I think it is going to be that longevity. It is, like I've said this before on the sites about the World Cup. And I think it's going to be coming. It's going to be January, I think now, I'm thinking about it. January is going to be the most important month for teams because players are not going to have the long rest after a World Cup like they do in the summer one. And
they might. It could work in our favour, though, Daniela, couldn't it?
It could.
It could. I mean, Sue and Sufal can have a rest, can't they?
I think for a team like us, I think most teams it will work because players will just keep going into it. And I think the rest, sometimes a long rest can be a negative, but I think it is going to be how teams. It'd be like a mini break.
Tough for everyone, isn't it? Really?
It's going to be tough for anyone. I think it's going to be through surprises, and I think it is going to be tough and injuries. But I do think, because I think creative midfield, we do have a lot of players like let's be honest, Benny and Lanzini, they're great players. Yes, they're not consistent, but if Moyes can actually use them as a roll-in, and they accept that they're a rolling swap, that it'd be Lanzini, Benny Lanzini, and they pick up. They've got. I think the squad's got to realise they will, with Europe, still have 50+ games to play.
And that's the thing is,
guys, do you think that Moyes' plan is we do score goals? We're not too shy in scoring goals. And even when you look at them first 3 signings, they're all defensive minded, and it's about not conceding as many. And we'll do better if we don't concede as many. And I can see why he's brought a centre half in, shored up Areola, and then brought another defensive midfielder in, because I think that's his plan.
Absolutely,
strengthen the spine and make sure we don't concede as many.
And that's why when it comes to the next signings that we make in terms of the forward signings, that I'm not so sure that we're going to be going hell for leather out there for a number 9. Because if you look at Broja, even though Broja could be one of our now number 1 target, he still is a Antonio-esque, different style, but he's an Antonio-esque player. He drops back, he drops deep, he works the flanks, he knows what he needs to do in those areas. So he can fit into that mold. But any other player that we bring in, excuse me for using the L word, is going to be a Lingard-esque signing, a player that can be creative from the midfield, that can play a false 9 position, that in theory can score goals. And if you spread those goals throughout the team, which is what Mark Warburton wants to do, then so be it. But listen, guys, I need to go very soon. So before I do go, I've got a question for you, Daniela. Let me know your thoughts on Flynn Downes joining the club.
I think Flynn Downes, I looked at the video yesterday. I think he's in to cover Rice because Rice was overused and he's got England for the moment. And that, I think it's a good signing. I think it's about whether he can pick the pace up from the Championship to the Premiership. That's the question mark. Can he pick up that pace from the Championship, to the Premiership? I think he can. I think it's a good signing. I can see Rice getting rested a lot more this season because of the World Cup and because of the previous seasons. I think Rice has just got to accept that, and because of Europe, maybe League Cup, FA. Well, the League Cup is going to be the first League Cup game. The squad he puts out is going to look like how is Moyes using the squad, of how he goes into that competition. Because I think. Yeah, Rice is banned from the first European game, but I think if we qualify, and I think we should, the first real conference game, Rice will be back in there. I think Rice will be the captain. I think Rice will be captain for the Premiership and the Europe. It's going to be how Moyes uses the squad for the League Cup and FA Cup early rounds. And going back to Kieran Finn, goal scoring. Well, our defender scored. I was saying this before. I think we're one of the few teams, not the only team, that we scored from every outfielder scored. Even Souček at the end, Soufal at the end scored a goal. So,
Soufal didn't, did he?
I don't think
Soufal didn't score a goal of our outfield players, and that's included all our defenders we used. So,
Fabianski was a bit slack in that department.
Fabian, he didn't need to. But
I was just going to say, same question to you, Kieran, then about Downes. What's your thoughts on Flynn Downes?
Oh, mate, the more I see of him, the more I like him. I think he's got the right attitude. West Ham boy, that really sort of helps. I'm really excited about it, but I'm not overly excited to the point where I think he's coming into that team. I believe he's a replacement for Noble, if anything. And I do believe he'll get game time in the cup matches and that. Yeah. And he is. And maybe Souček if he needs a rest. And he is, to me, the bits I've seen of him, he looks Rice-esque. He does have that way of getting that boot into interception-wise. He looks superb at it. And I think he'll be a bit of a project. I don't think he's coming straight in. I think he'll do a bit of a bowing on him. And bleed him, and hopefully that boy takes off. Then that we got a star on our hand, but time will tell with that one. But I don't want to get too excited that we think he's just coming straight into that team. He's not. He'll be a bench player to start with, and hopefully we'll bleed him in, and he'll do well.
Yeah, I think the first team of the season will be similar to. What we played last season. I think
you're right.
Apart from maybe the new defender, maybe in. I don't think it depends how he gets in. But I think it's going to maybe our own goalkeeper. But I think it's going to be pretty similar to her, especially against City. I think it's going to be a combination of it's either Fornell, Lanzini or Bowen. It's going to be Lanzini or Benny, Bowen, Antonio up front. I think Souček and Rice will be in the middle.
Danielle, unless we sign 4 next week, and we'll see who they are.
I don't listen. I don't doubt. I think we're going to strengthen definitely. I don't doubt that for a second. I do think we are going to. I mean, I know Mustard's come in and said, "Did you see that we're now prepared to make a large bid for Broja?" The situation with Broja seems to be growing arms and legs because it looks like he's potentially not getting taken away to America. And if that is true,
they confirm that. They confirm that he's not going to Broja. We've got to get in there quick because Everton's fishing. I wouldn't be surprised if Man United start fishing because of this Ronaldo thing. And
Newcastle.
Newcastle seem to be we've got this money, but we haven't got a clue who we want.
Well, Newcastle just copy really the links that West Ham are after. But listen, before we go, I've got other last 2 questions for you and everyone in the chat. I know it's a preseason game and I know we don't know much about the opposition, but Daniela, first question to you. What is your predictions for today's first preseason game?
I'm going to say 3-1.
And who are you looking forward to seeing the most?
I'm looking forward to seeing. I think it's everyone. I think I'm more looking forward to see how we're playing together. Whether we're bringing that spark, whether Benny's got that spark in Lanzini, all the youngsters. Does I'm not sure if Bowen will play, but does Antonio have that hunger still to start the game? Is he going to be a leader now? And that. So I assume there's obviously no Declan Rice. Coventry played well against. I remember the Celtic game, and Coventry was brilliant in that. The Coventry, all the youngsters playing, but it's about have we still kept that band of brothers spirit in the squad, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. Is the team connected?
I tell you what, from what I saw at the training camp, albeit a lot of first team players were not there, the band of brothers was definitely there in abundance. Do you know what I took from that was just the way that they treated us as fans. They were so inclusive. I mean, I don't know many other players that would grab. I mean, they grabbed my 7-month-old son.
That photo, Anton, I'm going with Fornals with Joey. What a photo that is.
Honestly, mate, it was Fornals and Lanzini. They were fascinated by him and they were playing with him. I took like 5 pictures and it's all different stages. And they were like, they don't even look at the camera. They're like, woohoo! And it's just lovely. And they were so, and you can see that together.
Fornals.
Yeah, you can see that togetherness. You can see that togetherness.
Fornals to me is the heart of the team.
Yeah.
Daniel, agree.
Yeah,
and the rest of the spirit. And everyone says Rice is the leader. Yes, but Fornals is the heart.
You need players like Fornals. You do. Yeah,
I think he's taken over. I think Fornals taken that from Noble, and he's the heart of the team. And he's the one. Well, I don't
know if you watched the stream we did a while ago, and I'll ask the last question to you, Kieran, before we go. But we were talking, and I was talking about Fornals, and what I said about Fornals was he would be the sort of player that you would want to introduce the new foreign players to.
Yes.
So such indeed. As he's embraced the culture, he's embraced the club, he understands the history. And we had a very famous YouTuber in the chat, Jack mate, who works for the club, had said that Fornals, the minute he came into the club, wanted to learn English as quickly as he possibly could. He wanted to be put in front of a historian who would tell him about the club, learn the history and do all this and do all that. And he said it is bang on about Fornals. Bang on.
Absolutely. That's why we love him.
Yeah.
He gets it straight away. You know, he reminds me of a Jeff Pike back in the day. Yeah. Right? He was just just but this is why Real Madrid hated Bale, because he didn't even want to learn the language. It was, he was a prick. This is why they didn't like him. Where Fornals has come in, mate, and it's like he's one of your own. It's like what Ray Stewart did, what Alvin Martin did, coming from somewhere else just embraced it and got it.
Kieran, what's your predictions for today's game then?
I think we'll win 3-0, and a young lad I'd like to see on the pitch is Ashby, because I know me and you had a conversation a while ago, and I didn't think Johnson was going to be our future right back, for a time. I've got a funny feeling that Ashby might.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling that this boy might be the future right back for West Ham. Not so much Johnson. I mean, yeah, but Johnson might be on the left.
I think he might be putting to the left, to be honest, and then we'll see Ashby out on the right as well. But he does look like a
Johnson showed against Villa what a wicked left foot he's got.
Yeah, he does. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's good. I think he's better on the left. I really do.
Listen,
I was going to say,
go for it.
Downes to me is as close to a form play, if not more different, to what the effect he's had on West Ham fans, what old Paulo has. Paulo Di Canio. I think those
I see it. Yeah.
The effect, different players, but I think Paulo, he understood the culture straight away. He knew how to, but I think if you listen to him, I think he got the West Ham culture, and I think that he got it very, very quickly.
Yeah, well, I think we're lucky to have Pablo and Lanzini, who definitely, I mean, he's going into his 8th or 9th year as a West Ham player. I think it's his 8th season as a West Ham player, and he's came back from nothing again to be pivotal to the squad. But listen, everyone, I do need to go. I really do. I honestly, I had to come on early today because I couldn't stay on later. So Kieran and Daniela, thank you so much for coming on. We'll definitely get you back on. We're doing it a lot more regular, so you know that's happening. So thanks for doing it,
darlings. Bye.
Take care. Take care. Right, that was great having some guests on as well. We will be doing that moving forward, so bear with us and we will keep doing it. But as we do, if you are new around here, please make sure you do hit that subscribe button. Please make sure you do hit the thumbs up as well. That will notify you when our shows do go live. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, please click the channel membership option. And like we always do, thanks to all the channel members, stay safe, and we'll hopefully, if we can get a chance to come on and do a video later on, we will. But come on, you Irons.
It's like a family tree.